through this network setup here. This video, I'm going to configure these three pieces: the core, the MPLS head, and the Site B router. Here in GNS3, I've added a annotation over here of the interface configuration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure each interface to represent the IP space noted in the diagram here, or in GNS3 layout, and each router. I'm going to put those settings on, and then I'm going to do the routes, the static routes on each, and then I'll demonstrate, use accessing the UTM over here and pinging all the way across to the XG and vice versa. Just going to keep this video down to the core networking. So let's start here, the core. Okay, so we'll enable, and then now I've got all the commands in this notepad. It's easier to work things out like this, and then you can just cut and paste. So let's start at the top here. So paste. There's the 172.16 network for the corporate side of things. Paste. And here's the point-to-point link between the core and the MPLS router. Okay. And then now down at the bottom, I've got the route statements for the core. So core routes, essentially the default route. If we look at the diagram, compare what these statements say based off of the diagram. The default route 000 goes to 11.0.1. That's going to be the network. 11.0.1 is here, and the XG represents 11.0.1. The whole 10 network /16, we're sending that to 10.11.1.2. Basically, over here, 10.11.1.2, we're sending it to the MPLS head. It must know how to get to the rest of the 10 network. The 172.16.20/24, we're also sending that to the 1.2 because that network sits over here across at Site B. So that's the logic of static routes, right? Is via next hop. How do I get there given my neighbor? All right, so there we go. So I did all that, and right, let's go to the next node. That's the MPLS head. Double click on it. Bring up my notes. Go at the top. Paste it in. There's one interface. Oops. There's the 1070.10 network. That's the whole MP. That's the the point on the MPLS. And then end T. And then we'll have to come down the end here and add the routes for the MPLS segment. This has more routes because it has to know bidirectionally what networks sit at which end, right? Boom, we'll add in those routes. So it needs to know that the 10.11.2 network is known via the 20 address of the MPLS. The 172.16.2 network, that's the LAN for the Site B, is also known by the 20. And then all these networks are known via the core 10.11.11.1 because these are the LAN, DMZ, and point-to-point network of the core, so of the main office, right? The DMZ, the LAN, and the point-to-point. All right. So that's the MPLS. Now we just have to do Site P. So, oops, minimize this. Click on Site P. And Site P, copy this. Do the interfaces. Paste. This has three interfaces. It's got the point-to-point, the LAN, and the interface that connects the site to the MPLS network. And there we go. End that and write that. So let's see. Make sure I did everything. Did I write this one? Yep. All right. So now I can test. So let's go to site B again. Let's see if I can ping, the dot one address of the core here, 10.11.10. So from here to there. So ping 10.11.1.1. Oh, I've done something wrong. Oh, I don't think I didn't add the routes on site B. That's what I did do. If I wanted to see, I could do show IP route. Wait a minute. This connected route. See how they're noted by a C? There's no static routes. So I didn't do that. So let's go back to my notes. Site B route. So I have to tell site B where all those networks are, right? Or at least the next hop of it, where the next hop might know where those networks are. And WR. All right. Let's see if I can ping them again. Bam. So I got, now let's see if I can ping the XG's LAN interface, right? 10, well, let's go on to these devices here, the XG and the UTM. So I've got them connected on the WAN side. If we look at, let me show you real quick, inside a VirtualBox. So over on the WAN side, I've got the UTM. If you look in the network section here in the center screen, I've got one bridged adapter on. Excuse me, I've got one. Yeah, bridged in adapter, and then I've got one host only adapter. So I'm gonna change the host only adapter to to a generic adapter, generic UDP driver, so GNS3 will be able to use it. And then under the XG, I think I've already, so yeah, the XG already has, I'm going to change this adapter number 1 to a generic UDP. Also, the reason I do that is so GNS3 can link to it. Alright, so now I'm connected. I've got the bridged interface on each, so I'm connected on essentially on the WAN address. If I look at the network configs, network interfaces, I've got the 172 address. This is on my wireless, and then of my host operating system. So I'll edit this interface, port 1. This is going to be based off of the diagram, 10.11.0.1, 10.11.0.1/24. Save that. It's in zone LAN. Then over on the UTM, interfaces and routing, LAN, right? Oh, that's the WAN. That's also bridged. And I'll have to change this to what's Site B. Site B is 10.11.2.1/20. Oh, it's a 29. It's not a 24, so I have to go back and change that. 10.11.2.1/29. Right, let me go back to the XG and make that a /29. So 10.11.2.1/29. All right. So I'm not going to be able to point-to-point ping until I add unicast routes over here on the XG and unicast routes over on the on the UTM. But I should be able to ping from the core. If I go on the core, I should be able to ping 10.11.0.1. Hopefully. Yep, I can. So that's good. So then I should be able to go on Site B's router and ping the 10.11.2.1. That's the